All right, switching gears now. The Republican candidates have one more debate before Iowa. Voters head to the ballot box, and Donald Trump might not be on stage. The GOP frontrunner has threatened to boycott tomorrow night's debate, blaming Fox News and Megyn Kelly.
We're joined now by Josh Holmes, former chief of staff for Senator Mitch McConnell. Josh, let's talk about this. I mean, every time, it's like every day something new happens, but Fox News has said that Trump is welcome to participate if he wants to. What are the odds, do you think, that Trump actually follows through on this threat and does not participate? And do you think it even matters to his supporters?
You know, how do you even know at this point? I half expect him to come riding that ball and chain that you showed in the intro, you know, halfway through the debate with a crown and sash on, declaring that he's the victor of the debate. I mean, I really don't know what to expect. And I think up at this point, almost anybody would say that a candidate who chooses to skip the last debate before ballots are cast is usually in a pretty bad spot. But, you know, he's defied conventional wisdom on each and every point throughout this entire campaign, so it's really hard to tell.
You know, Josh, in 2011, Donald Trump sat down with Megyn Kelly about hosting a Republican debate. And earlier today, Fox News aired the interview between them from 2011. Let's take a look at that.
Let's touch on this debate that's coming up that you're going to moderate for Newsmax with Newsmax. So far, only Newt Gingrich and Rick Santorum have agreed.
We're not seeing a lot of courage here, are we?
Not so far.
Not lots of courage.
Are you
these
still going to do
Republicans,
it?
they're supposed to be brave.
Do you really think that you're a better moderator than I am?
No, I could never beat you. That wouldn't even be close. There would be no contest. You have done a great job, by the way, and I mean it.
Okay, Josh, thoughts? I mean, is this really about Megyn Kelly here? When you look at that exchange, right, and you understand now this is Donald Trump 2016, the presidential candidate, the front runner in the GOP. What is this about?
Oh, guys, consistency. It's the hobgoblin of simple minds, according to the Trump campaign. You know, I don't really know what to make of that, other than the fact that he's basically said whatever it is that he wants to say throughout, whether he's contradicted himself in the past or not. I mean, he's contradicted himself on almost every policy position up to this point. And, you know, it's funny, if you look at what he's chosen to do over the course of this campaign, I mean, you'd be forgiven if you thought that he was trying to sabotage his own campaign, and his supporters apparently won't let him. As you mentioned, you know, it doesn't matter to them. And I think throughout we've seen consistency doesn't matter, conservatism doesn't seem to matter. A lot of things that traditionally matter to primary voters don't seem to matter as they apply to Donald Trump. But I think that the big outstanding question is whether or not the support that we see in the polls translates into votes in Iowa and New Hampshire. And we're going to find out next Tuesday. But there's a real open question on that.
Yeah, you know, lately it's been Trump versus Cruz, and then the other candidates, the establishment candidates, duking it out for a third place spot. But without Trump in this debate, does that mean Ted Cruz will face more attacks from the other candidates, do you think?
Well, I think Ted Cruz plans to be completely engaged in this debate one way or another. And I think as a front runner in Iowa, he's going to take fire from everybody, including Donald Trump, even if he's not on stage. So, you know, I think it probably doesn't change his game plan a whole lot. It does provide some other opportunities from some other candidates to get in there. Of course, one less candidate on stage means more time for other people to get their point of view across. And so I do think that there will be some opportunity out there. Look, Iowa voters are pretty notorious for being late to decide here. And I think that there are some ground that could be made up in this debate with an especially strong performance. So in some ways, the other candidates have to look at this as a big opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, being just 5 days away from the Iowa caucuses, Josh, what do those so-called establishment candidates need to do at the debate to stand out?
I'm not really sure how to define an establishment candidate anymore. We've got a pretty broad definition now. Somehow Marco Rubio's found himself into an establishment category, which is an interesting take, to say the least. But, you know, look, if anybody not named Trump or Cruz, you got some ground to make up. And I think these voters at the end look for primarily two things. They look for, is this person presidential? Can they do the job? And is this person somebody who can beat Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders and ultimately be the president of the United States? And so those two things require a pretty scripted, pretty serious performance at the end here. And I think most of these other candidates are going to prepare exactly to do that.
All right, Josh Holmes, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Stick with CBSN this Thursday night for full coverage of the final GOP debate before the Iowa caucuses. We'll bring you all the highlights plus extensive pre- and post-debate analysis. That is this Thursday night beginning at 7 Eastern.
And Monday, February 1st, we are your home for all things Iowa. We'll have full coverage of the caucuses throughout the day and night right here on CBSN.